All right, let's do a quick sound check, see if this sucker even works. I don't even know if it works. Come on. Yeah, it works. It actually sounds pretty good. What's up, everybody? How you guys doing? I hope you guys are ready for today's stream. I have a special guest today who actually came up with the topic because he wants to talk about it. It's all about the Avata, the first time flying. And for me, it's technically seen not the first time anymore, but it's pretty much like about flying in general and things that you actually should consider. And we have in the house right now, we have One Vision Ariel. He just said, send it. I couldn't agree more. I send it all the time. That's a cool stream intro. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's always around like Halloween time. I like make the live stream special. You know what I mean? Like eat my possum. I send out your filters. They should be on their way, I hope. And I'll also send out the stickers. I'm sorry that it took so long for me to send it out. I had a lot of things on my mind and a lot of things that was going on at the same time. So I appreciate your patience in this whole thing, but your filters are on the way together with the sticker. And we have Kalani Khan. What's up, brother? What's up, my man? How you doing? And without further ado, I want to introduce my special guest I have today. He has a channel as well. His name is Dronewheels. He's from the East Coast. That's the reason why I started this at 1 p.m. today. And let's bring him in, shall we?
All right. What's up? What's up?
What's up, my man? Can you hear me?
How's it going? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just perfect.
Dude, this is my first time going live on my channel. Well, your channel, but my first time going live on YouTube. So I am excited. And thank you for entertaining me this evening, man. I'm excited for the conversation.
Yeah, I got your video and I seen your video and I was like, where you said you had that box right there. It was still like packed up, and I'm like, what is he doing? Wait, what? He doesn't want to fly it? And then you said that you didn't fly it because you've seen problems and you've seen the stuff that I had a problem with. Yeah. And I was like, I felt bad for you. It's like, bro, you're missing out on all the good stuff you can do with this thing. So
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it, man. But I'm nervous. So the reason I wanted to talk to you, I've been watching all of your videos. So thank you so much for your content. I mean, dating all the way back to when you were talking about quitting YouTube. I was like, no. So been watching that stuff, man. And then I watched your video where you lost the Avata. And that made me even more nervous. So
I technically seen because I lost it because I would say just simply it was inexperience and the way it is designed. I've watched. Okay, so where do we start with this whole thing? So I started flying it and I used the motion controller, of course. You know, the motion controller was everything, and it's super intuitive with this damn thing. It's like so much fun.
Wow.
So now, after having so much fun with that, I had the idea of going with the FPV controller.
Right.
So now, because I flew the DJI FPV, so I figured, okay, I know the controls. I have a lot of time in with the DJI FPV. I sold my DJI FPV because I needed money. Mm-hmm. And then I flew a lot in the simulator and stuff, and I knew everything about it. What I didn't know is that Cinewhoops are ducted aircrafts that have this duct right here, which causes like an airflow interruption, which makes the drone on certain maneuvers just dip downwards. Now, experienced pilots know how to counteract that, and some of them can recover it on their home built ones. And there's a lot of people that flew it, like Mr. Davis from the drone camp.
Yeah,
he flew this thing without the ducts, and it's of course get the wobble from because it's tuned in with the ducts itself.
Right.
But he said it himself, it's always going to have this tumble. So now this is where it splits apart into people where even experienced FPV pilots said this tumble sucks because it's like really, really extreme and aggressive. You can recover it if you're very experienced and if you hit that stop button, but there's limitations to it, and there's limitations too on how high you have to be in order to recover it. So I've seen experienced pilots not being able to recover it from 5 feet and up. Wow. Now with this drone, you try to fly as low as possible. So if you're going below 5 feet and you're getting this tumble, you're gonna crash. You're gonna crash regardless. Right. Now it's not too bad if you're over a grassy field, or if you're over like gravel and stuff, and she's gonna tumble. She's gonna do her thing.
Okay.
It's gonna suck, like in my case, when it's 2 feet away from the cliff and it happens. And I got surprised. I was like totally surprised about it. I got criticized for it because of my inexperience, and my videos always reflect what I find. And when I found Rob HK's video, who had the same stumble, which they now said it splits apart where now DJI admits there was a fault within the software. The movement was the same. So was the movement of 20 other videos I found. And it is a yaw stumble, it's a tilt, it's a tumble. It's what this drone is gonna do. It doesn't matter. Now it comes down to people who fly it regularly, who fly a lot, and some people who are really experienced, who are less experienced, who are advanced, and people who are totally inexperienced, like myself with cedar whoops.
Okay.
It's not made for those kind of maneuvers. So now they say that if it's a sharp 180 turn, well, some people try to do a sharp 180 turn. It didn't work for them. It's because they're missing one or two components of the thing to make the tumble. It doesn't matter. It still has the possibility of doing the tumble, but it's restricted only to this.
You have to have that controller.
You got to use this controller with it. So for beginners like yourself and like myself, I have been, ever since I got the replacement, I have touched the FPV controller once, and I have put it back down because I flew in a backyard and I was maybe like 5 feet up, and I did a gradual 180 turn, thinking to myself, okay, let's see when she's going to, boom, right out, she went down. I couldn't even finish the thought, and she did the tumble, and I was ready for it, and I pressed the button, and it didn't recover on its own. It literally like tumbled. Now the thing was that she didn't shut off. Like, she kept trying to go like really hard into the ground because she was upside down. Now she didn't register the impact. And she kept spooling up. So I had to run up there, grab the drone, and pull the battery because I forgot to assign the button again, my second time, to turn off the motors. So you can set it in the settings that you turn off the motors.
To turn off motors. Okay. Yeah. So my question is, what would have happened if you were further away where you didn't have access to the drone if something like that happened, right?
She's probably going to spool up until she either detects an impact, until the motor blows or the battery ejects, whatever it is, whatever comes first, I guess.
Really?
That's just my assumption.
Okay.
You know, that's just simply because she's usually really, this drone is super rugged, my man. Like
I've heard a lot of people
she can have when you look in my ducts right now in here, I have grass in there, like all over in there. I was cutting grass by flying so low with this controller.
Right.
You know, I shoot gaps with this. I use the Horizon Steady to make some really nice footage of it flying. Where you don't need the FPV controller for this drone. I'm telling you,
you don't have to have the FPV, because I was going to order it. I planned on ordering it, and I want to, because I do want to do the center whoops and all that stuff. But you told me to just stick with the motion controller first, right?
Just stick with the motion controller for, I would say, at least 6 months.
6 months?
At least 6 months. You're going to figure out real good with this how you can do stuff, because this Cinewhoop is supposed to be made for close confinement areas. Tight areas within your reach. I wouldn't even say go as far as 500 feet. You know what I mean? Because it's like you need a visual observer anyways, because you have goggles on. So if you have somebody with you, he can watch. But even if you're watching, I had 2 people with me. I crashed it, and I was like 350 feet away. It took us 2.5 hours to find it.
2.5 hours to find it?
Yeah, because the battery ejected, and this thing is black, and the bushes and stuff, and it was hanging upside down in a fern like this, but the battery ejected. The battery was on the ground. My friend found the battery. He grabbed it, picked it up, but he didn't see the drone hanging in the fern. So he kept walking past the drone, how many times?
That's crazy. So what if that were in a tall tree? You know what I mean? A 500-foot tree or something like that.
Then you will have to find a way to get it out of there. So that's why you try not to go really that high. So
gotcha. Okay, so my first opportunity to fly this drone, my son plays basketball. So I talked to his coach about doing some cinematic footage for his team. And he said yes, and they're in a gym. So do you recommend flying it in the gym first?
I would say go into the open field first. Get yourself acquainted, because it's your first flight. You don't want to do it around people. You don't want to make a fool out of yourself.
Gotcha.
You want to get acquainted with the controls. You want to get acquainted on what this drone is capable of. Fly it around in the backyard. Fly it through gaps. Crash it a couple of times. Not too hard. Go in normal mode. It's good enough for that.
So we have normal mode and manual mode. It's just 2 modes?
No. There's normal mode and sport mode. You press the button on this. It's going to show up in your goggles. It has normal mode. And it goes maybe like 20 something miles. You can't really tell the difference. And then you go into sport mode and it goes maximum of 31 miles per hour.
Okay.
On tight areas, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's
Like
fast. That's
that
fast.
is
Right.
freaking fast. So
It's
if
very
you
fast.
stay in normal mode, I did 3, I think I did 4. Yeah, I did 4 real estate shoots already.
Okay.
Um, and they were just test phases. I asked the client if I could use it for that, and he said he agreed. He said, "Yeah, do whatever you want." And
Right.
I did it, and I just put it up against my gimbal with my camera and all that stuff, just to see what type of shots, because I wanted a continuous shot of walking through it without me having to walk.
Right.
Now I started it on the outside to have GPS and have a home point. In the settings, I set my if I lose connection to have it hover, not
Got
to
you. Right.
go return home, because if you have it hover, it'll just stay there. You
Yeah,
lost
just stay in
connection, you
place.
walk up, you grab it out of the air, you good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
Oh,
Right.
Saint Kenny, thank you very much for signing up. I appreciate that. Welcome to the member channel. I mean channel member. I appreciate that. I
Good
have I
deal.
have a lot more stuff in common. I mean, coming for that too, for you guys members. Anyways,
Thank you, Kenny,
it's
for coming
starting
in,
to
brother.
rain right now. If you guys can hear that, then it's pouring rain right now. Anyways, so set the settings that you will not have return to home, because you don't want to be in a building when you lose reception. She goes
And
straight up
this
into the
thing go
roof.
crash into the ceiling. Right.
Yeah, you don't want that. So set it up to where you just have it hover so somebody can grab it. Plus you have an observer.
Yeah.
Make a flight plan for that gym first. Try it
Okay.
in the gym first without people.
Okay,
Because
so if
you don't,
I do have access to the gym, so you're saying
yeah.
go ahead and because I be honest, I'm very very nervous about flying this outside at the moment. I
Mhm.
was thinking if it's in the gym, it's confined. I can do it without people. So
Well, the thing that you're looking for is reception, yeah. So if you have
gotcha.
no reception and bad GPS, because the gym has metal roof and has all
Yeah,
this other stuff, you have
yeah,
a lot of influences. When you're
gotcha.
out in the open into an open grass field, a soccer field,
It's
you can
got the
get
satellite.
acquainted with it has the satellites.
Right.
And usually here in Hawaii, I have it. It picks up within the first 10 seconds, it picks up at least 22 satellites, and I'm good. What I've
Right.
noticed is when I drop below 13 to 12, she has a couple glitches when you want to control her. When she
Okay.
does her own thing, she's twitching a little bit.
Got it. Got it.
But it's nothing major really. It's like on my long straights when I try to make a video. It's called The Road, where I
Hmm.
did a long continuous shot of the road, and I actually was in the back of a truck and I was standing on top of the truck, but it's a very rural area. So in
Okay.
that rural area, I lost reception to satellites, and it dropped down between 16, 15 down to 12. And when it did, every single time it did these twitches and it started wearing off. So now I
Oh,
don't know how that works in the gym, because when I was doing my real estate shoots, I didn't lose reception as much.
right.
The
Because you didn't have
penetration on the
reception.
HD goggles is tremendous. The penetration of the RC, that motion controller, is tremendous in any building technically
Okay.
seen.
Okay. Yeah, I
I
mean, I've seen
needed,
guys flying through abandoned buildings like with no problem.
yeah, no problems. Like the penetration is really 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 good on this controller, and the
Mhm.
reception itself. The only thing that you have to fear for is the GPS. So, and that's where, for an example, home built Cinewhoops don't have that issue, because they don't rely on that. They rely on the penetration of that. You know, this is
Okay.
because it's GPS and it still has that self stabilization thing, and it
Okay.
has a lot more technology in there. It relies heavily on that GPS, and that is not fully worked out in my eyes yet.
Got
So
you.
I'd be careful. So get acquainted first on the outs, get
Right.
started first, and then move on over into an empty gym until you're really
Empty.
comfortable with the flight plan that you want, and
Okay.
set up the team talk story with the team talk story with the players talk story with the coaches on what you really want out
Movements
of
and all of
this.
that stuff that we're going to be doing, right?
Exactly. Like
Got
if
it.
it has to be choreographed or if you
Yeah.
just observing what they do.
Okay.
There's a difference. So if it's choreographed, then everybody needs to be at the right point at the right time
At
with
the right.
you flying perfectly that route,
Wow.
and that
Okay.
route can be, I had shots of up to at least 20 times before it was perfectly matched to what I wanted it to be.
Okay. Okay.
So you want to look into that. You want to make sure that you're good with it. So
All right. Now, I
um
got another question for you. So, inside the goggles, when you're looking inside of the goggles, what's the proximity of the drone? If you're flying through something, through trees or whatever the case may be, how do you know if the drone is going to crash into something looking through the goggles?
It's actually practice. You'll figure it out for yourself. Proximity wise, I was at first skeptic flying through things. Nowadays, I can fly through things that are barely bigger than this drone.
Wow, really?
Yeah, like even profile wise, I can aim it up. You'll get the feel for it, how she interacts with you, how she
Okay.
responds to your needs with the controller, and what your flight path is, and how she drifts off when you come around a turn and you want to line it up for that next shot where you want to go through. You'll figure it out. It's very tight. Like I can pretty much tell already most of the time when I stay like probably 30 feet away, 20 feet away, I can
Yeah.
tell if I can make it or not,
Wow.
around there. And I'm going full speed in normal. I'm having the throttle
In
to the
manual
stick.
mode.
In just the this in normal mode.
Okay.
I don't use the FPV. Manual mode is only FPV. That's
Oh,
it.
got you. Okay, so I can
Yeah.
only get to manual. That's good. Okay, I'm glad
Yeah.
you're telling me something.
You cannot use manual mode if you don't have the FPV controller. And then the FPV controller too, if you do switch into manual mode, it has to be either prior to takeoff or after you took off.
Oh, you
Because the
can't switch them
drone,
while you're flying.
yeah, so you can switch it while you're flying.
Yeah.
So if you set up your manual before, then
Yeah.
you pretty much like switch these buttons around where it says normal, sport, or
Yeah.
manual, and then on the ground already you putting it into manual. Then now you're taking off manually.
Got
I
you. Okay.
tried that twice and it didn't work out, so I just left it and I
Just
just took off. It acts like a regular GPS drone when you just have it normal in sport mode in this with this controller, and then
Mhm.
while you're up higher in the air, you regardless of whatever you feel comfortable with, you can switch it to manual, and then it's going to ask you to position the sticks in a certain manner, and
Okay.
then now you need to know already what you're doing with the sticks. So I suggest to do a before you switch to this, you
Yeah.
need a lot of simulator time first.
Yeah, I just downloaded the simulator. I just found it the other day and
Yeah.
I
What you
downloaded
using?
it. Huh?
What you using?
I'm using an iPhone.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, you'll figure out real quick that the stick input is totally different on FPV, man. It's crazy. Like it took
Okay.
me, I'd say like at least 25 minutes to figure out how to take off in manual
Really?
in the simulator because I always ended up upside down, or when I did get it to hover, somehow it was going up and down, up and down, up and down. And then
Oh my
it
God. And
just
that's in the
flipped forward. I'm
simulator.
like, what am I doing? Like I didn't understand the dynamics on the stick input. You know what I mean? So that was pretty much my biggest issue.
Okay.
But you need to the biggest thing that I can tell you is pretty much like make yourself acquainted with the area that you want to fly in.
Got it.
Uh,
Okay. A field or
Regardless.
a park or
So
something like
from now on, when we talk about it, we totally disregard manual and we totally disregard the FPV controller because I do not use it at this point.
that. Got you.
Um,
Okay.
Not because of insecurity, just simply because of the convenience. Because I just start this thing up, I stop somewhere, I take it out of the case, I start it up. It takes me like maybe a minute to set up everything. When I see a spot and I'm like, oh, I want to fly there,
I want
I
to catch
stop.
that. Right.
Yeah, I pull over, I take it out, I start up this controller, I start up my goggles, I start up the drone, I'm
Right.
ready to go. I press
Okay.
this button twice, the motor start up. I hold the red button for a few seconds, and then boom, she just takes off on her own. She hovers until
Got it.
she's ready to go, and it says home point updated. Boom,
Okay.
and right there, I start
And you're
going,
ready to fly. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I'm ready to fly. So I go, and then I
Okay.
fly my route, whatever I want to fly, and it's so intuitive, and it's an area. So that's another thing I need to tell you.
Yeah.
If you do intend to fly at spots that you just seen,
Yeah.
and you want to fly, make sure it's accessible.
In terms
Because
of FAA.
no, accessible in terms of you can get to it. Because if you crash this sucker 60 feet
Oh,
away from you,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I was
you
saying
need to
earlier. Yeah. If
get
you
to that
crash
point.
this thing to where, and let's say you go across a barbed wire fence or something, right? Or
Now you have to climb the fence and you got to find it where it's at.
oh my God.
So you need to know your area. I've been behind closed fences, I've been behind walls, I've been behind cliffs, I've been behind 160 feet of lava rock that is sharp like razor blades, and I'm like, crap, it's black too. How am I going to get to that damn drone? You know what I mean? So
Right.
yeah,
Right.
you
Right.
have to be really, really
And what?
careful choosing your location in
And
the
while you're
beginning.
talking about that, another thing I wanted to talk about is obstacle avoidance. I heard it does not have any obstacle avoidance.
I it does not have obstacle avoidance like a traditional GPS drone. It doesn't have anything forward facing, doesn't have anything backwards facing, sideways, upwards, whatever.
Okay.
It has, on the other hand, a downwards facing sensor.
Okay.
Now, the one thing that I've noticed with this sucker is that if you go somewhere and you're flying, and let's say you're going over, let's use this rat. Can you guys see this rat? Yeah.
Yeah,
so
see it.
There's this rat. So, and let's say the drone goes over it. Now you want to go dip straight down.
Yes.
Not gonna happen. She's gonna stall a little bit because she just registered that there was a thing, and you're like pointing downwards, and you're like, "Brah, get down!" And she doesn't want to go down. You'll just have to wait until she gets to the point that she allows you to go down. So these downwards facing, because of the sensor in the bottom that measures how high you're off the ground.
Right.
And normally in sport mode, that sensor is actually active where it tells you that there is something below, and she doesn't want to just dip, you know. That is where it comes in, where this is the flaw why people use the controller. So because they use the controller because now you can do those movements. You can literally go over something like this.
So
the bad part is there's no recovery if you mess up, you know.
It overrides the sensor, the controller?
Yes, full on. In manual, there's no sensor, there's no restrictions. It's full on open. It's all up to you.
Whew. Okay.
Yeah. Every little thing that you do, and then if you need a brake, you gotta put your finger on the brake button and boom, hit the brake, and she'll hover there, you know, and then she stops and then she's back into normal. But sometimes that time frame is kind of you messed up and you just it just didn't. You missed the opportunity.
and listen, I want to take this time to tell the watchers the reason I have not opened. And I looked back at my account. I actually got this on September 29th. We're talking about, we're well into October now. And, this drone is not cheap. This is not a cheap drone at all. And for what it cost me, I'm just terrified and nervous to lose it. Now, here's what I did, 808. I did order the DJI Care. I have that. Mm-hmm. And I also have my own personal insurance on all of my equipment too.
Yeah.
So I do have those two things in place.
Yeah. The one thing that you want to have though, because you have that security in the back of your head, you'll never want to use it.
No, I don't want to use it. No, I do not. I don't want to pay the deductibles on it.
Yeah, you don't want to use it. Like it felt like even for me, even though I had Care Refresh after I crashed it, I knew that because I would not be able to recover this drone. So I was like, how am I going to explain this to these guys? Because I literally just took out the card from the goggles and it didn't record. And I'm like, bro, seriously? So I was really, really down. And then I had a lot of good viewers that watched it. They gave me donations. So I technically barely had to pay. I had to maybe pay $60 out of my pocket. And then after that, because I requested from DJI, because I blamed them at first. I told them, bro, this is your fault.
I saw the video. I saw the video when you said it wasn't pilot error, right?
Yeah, it was like, it's not my fault. And then apparently it is my fault. It's just I didn't know about it, that drone Cinewhoops can do this. Plus, I treated it sort of unfairly like a regular FPV, even though it says it's a DJI Avata FPV. Yeah, it is FPV based on that you're looking through the goggles, first-person view, but it's not necessarily like an FPV freestyle drone. And that's where you need to now. It's the FPV. It's at first it's FPV. It's all manual. Now it branches out: freestyle, racing, Cinewhoop, whatever else you have. A Cine lift. All those things are different, and they all react different. And that's when people need to learn. Like myself, I had to learn the hard way and how to learn to educate yourself prior that you know that, it's a Cinewhoop. Okay, so what is the limitations? What is the problems with Cinewhoops? What can happen? How do Cinewhoops work? And what are they made for? And I failed to do that, to be honest. I failed to do it. Even though in the manual it states that, certain maneuvers in manual, hard turns and do not go lateral. I don't believe it included turns in the beginning. They just amended the PDF version of it. I'm not sure if it's included. I don't want to spill the wrong information, but as far as I can recall, it didn't have sharp turns. It just simply stated that in certain maneuvers and do not go lateral, the drone can go unstable. So unstable, I had a totally different thing in mind. Being unstable, I thought it would wobble a little bit. It would maybe drift off a little bit,
but not crash.
But not drop out of the air like a brick.
Just drop right out of the air.
It goes backwards, and I heard it spool up too because it was literally only 50 feet away from me. I heard it, whoa, 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 and I was like,
"Oh, you knew it. You
and I
knew
knew
it.
already something is not right. And I thought it was a motor failure at first, or I lost a
Right.
prop or whatever. And then when I was talking about it, I was like, okay, so there's a thing called yaw stumble or whoop wash or tumble. And now
Right.
I learned more about it. But my mistake, my error, and me talking about it is going to
Mhm.
help people like you avoiding
Yes.
that, or
Yes.
being aware of that
Right.
situation, which is good. And the DJI Avata, in my eyes, is one of the best beginner cinewhoop
Beginner entry
you
level
can
drone, right?
entry level cinewhoop you can get for the money, because you're getting HD goggles,
Yep.
you get an unbeatable penetration based on signal for HD signal and for control.
Okay.
Plus, you have Horizon Steady in there, which is super cool. You have
Okay.
decent alike. You have a great camera in there. If you really like the DJI, me personally, I don't really like the DJI cameras yet.
Okay.
Order quality, because I'm spoiled from Autel.
Okay.
But it's like it has a lot going for itself. It's a lot of fun, and it's really worth, in my eyes, it's worth the expense, because I have been looking into getting into FPV, building my own drones for
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
long time, and I haven't gotten around to do it because I'm not as knowledgeable. I'm not a geekhead that knows how to solder. I'm not a geekhead
Solder.
how to
Yeah.
figure out. I'm
Right.
not good with electricity either.
Not to
I
mention the
don't.
time that it takes to build these things.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
time to consume all that information and
Right.
building it and getting. I mean, it's probably
Yeah.
cheaper and it's probably better, and you can adjust it to whatever
It's
you
more
want.
versatile too. Probably more versatile
Yeah,
too.
and you can pretty much build it to you to your needs on
Yeah.
what you want.
Right.
And it's I don't know. St. Kenny
But
says, I've been gathering lately. It is from the first generation of others. I don't know if I have the same first gen, since I haven't attempted that quick maneuvers. I will soon. I'm I'm not I'm not sure.
yeah.
I heard that there were issues with the Avata, but like I said, I'm not a geek freak. I'm not a dude who hooks up this drone and is going to read all the info and data that comes out of it on a
Right.
screen.
Right.
I buy this thing to just fly it.
To just fly it.
Like,
Yeah, just I
yeah,
just want
just
to learn my basics, get my basics down, and go
yeah,
have a little fun too.
and
And
then
another thing I want to talk to you about before I forget is fly time. So of course I've got the Fly More kit with mine too.
yeah.
So
So
what's the flight time? And also let me take a moment to give a shout out to Chad, who is also a DJI Avata owner. I've talked to him through the IG a little bit too. So what's going on, Chad? Thank you for coming in, man.
chat.
Yeah, I think Chad
Oh,
is
Chat B.
Chad B. Yeah, you know Chad B?
I've seen him in the chat before. I don't
Yeah.
know him
He's got a
personally.
great channel all about drones, and he's got a Nevada too. He's a Nevada owner as well.
Alrighty.
Yeah, yeah, he's got some great videos and a couple of crashes on his too. He said the same thing you said. He said this Avata takes a beating and it keeps on going.
Yes, it does. It does take a beating. It's one of I'm coming from the traditional GPS droning. I have seen a couple crashes on the DJI FPV. Have never experienced a crash with my own DJI FPV.
Mhm.
Avoided that until I sold it for good money. I got a really good deal out of it.
Okay.
And until I crashed this one, and I felt always so bad when I had like the traditional GPS, even when it just nicks a branch and it just flips over and falls down. I'm like babying my drones, right?
Me too. Yeah.
And when this happened with this one, I was like, the first time, because oh my god, I was like, oh, and I hit it so hard in the air, and it tumbled down, and it fell like 10 feet out of the air. It
Right.
tumbled another 30 feet, and then I
And so
seen pieces.
look, you're panicking because you got these
Oh,
little scratches
and
on
I
the
and,
face.
and I and I'm like, see the piece flying, and then my friend runs over there and he picks it up, and Alika goes like, oh, there's like nothing wrong with it. It's just the battery came out. I'm like, what? And I looked at it, and I literally popped the battery back in, hooked it up, started it up. It started up right after. I flew it, and I flew it
So
perfectly through gaps and everything else. I was like, damn.
is there anything that'll keep that battery from popping out? Like, is there anything anybody's made yet that will keep the battery
Yeah,
from popping?
there's a couple guys that made like battery straps and stuff. For me
Battery straps?
personally,
Okay.
I don't think that I really would prefer that, because I think
No?
the way it's designed for a purpose like that. Because if you do have a freak crash and the
Yeah.
battery does not eject because you put that strap on,
Yeah.
and the props just keeps going, or the drone malfunctions is trying to go. I've seen videos of guys, the thing tumbles, falls upside down, crashes into the ground, and then goes straight up in the air, and goes like 500 feet and just takes off and it's gone.
Really?
Because it just keeps going. So if you look up, if you just punch it into YouTube itself on the search bar on the top, you punch in DJI Avata crash. Take your
Fly
time
away.
and go through it, and you're gonna see just by punching in DJI Avata crash how many different videos there are on what this drone does that are really, really scary.
Wow.
You know, like it's like, what? Why would it? I don't understand. Like, it has malfunctions, and especially after one impact, like mine's on was an impact. I hit it, the line. It says impact detected, and it reset my home point to somewhere up in the sky.
Right.
And she was still hovering, and I still had my home point up there, and I had the crosshair, but she wouldn't respond to any of my inputs.
Really?
And she just would go backwards like this, slowly, going backwards, and then hit the ground. Boom, the battery flew out, and that was it.
Wow.
You know, but it's just, it has some issues, and I mean, I don't blame it. Like, if you crash it, you crash it. You know, I crashed this one. This is the exchange model. I crashed this probably about 50 times already. You know, just dinging into, like, I set up my, you know, the jungle gym, the plastic jungle gym that you can have for your kids.
The little, for the kid,
yeah, the multicolored one, whatever. There's like round openings. So because my kids aren't using it anymore, they're too old for it, so it's still sitting in the yard. So I started making my own obstacle course with it, you know,
to go through it and all that stuff.
And I started flying even the tube that the kids usually climb through. It actually does a dip, and I went with this through there. How many times did I crash before I made it? Many times. But I hit it like head on. I hit it full speed. I hit it with the duct on this side. I hit it sideways, or it bounced off. The only time I had a freak reaction was when I was going, like, I come in around the corner, and it was going like this, and I tried to get into the gap, and it was going kind of fast, and she kind of drifted off, and she hit straight head on with the camera first into the wall, like the sidewall, like this, like pa, and then she went. Literally, the camera was looking downwards, and my drone started going upwards. But then I was lucky that there was a branch of tree from the neighbor right there. She clipped that branch, and she flipped upside down, and she fell down. And then she turned off. And I was like, yes, sir. So I got lucky. God knows where the thing would have gone without that branch.
Without the branch, it would have been gone. All right, so Jim said he's never crashed his drone before. He's feeling left out. So kudos to you, Jim. I don't know how much flight you've had with the Avata, man, but if you've not crashed yet, maybe you haven't flown enough yet. I don't know. Is that one of the
it's
consensus?
If you fly a Avata and you're taking risk of trying to go through gaps, you can fly this thing. I flew it the first week without crashing. I flew like 20 flights without crashing it. And I was doing some daredevil stuff. I was literally coming around the corner, hitting gaps in between, because you get really acquainted. It's really, really intuitive with this thing, and you're going to have a lot of fun doing it.
Right.
And nowadays, I already can stand up without having to lean against anything, flying like that. You know, before I had to lean against something because I was getting seasick. You know, so, but you will crash eventually, but there is not really a big problem unless there's water around.
Right.
There's non-accessible areas around, or areas that you weren't supposed to be in the first place.
Gotcha. Okay.
You know, so
I know what you
other
mean.
than that, this drone is perfect for that.
So you sound, you get acquainted really quick, or you feel like, you know, really fast that you've gotten acquainted with it. And
I never used this drone. I mean, my wife never used it. My friend never used it. My friend put on the goggles. He never flew a drone, not even a traditional GPS drone in his life.
Right.
I gave him this controller, and I told him, wherever that round dot points at,
that's where you're going.
This is where you're going to go. And that sucker was already gapping fences and in between bushes after 5 minutes flying it.
5 minutes.
Yeah. That's how intuitive it is.
All right. So I got a quick story about that, guys. And I hope I don't, you know, feel like that too fast, but I'm a one-wheel rider. You familiar with the one wheel? You ever heard of one wheel?
Yeah, they don't make them in my size.
Well, look, so I bought this one wheel, man. I rode it. I got it on Father's Day. My family got it for me. I rode it for 4 days. I felt so confident that I had this thing down. I was a master.
Oh, please don't tell me you did a collarbone thing.
Oh, my God. On that 4th day, man, I went down so hard, 808. I got the scars to prove it right here. I got the scars to prove it right here.
Oh,
and so check that video out on my channel, guys. Dronewheels. I think this is the second video I posted where I fell off my my one wheel for just getting too confident too quick, which is another reason I wanted to talk to you about this Avata and not getting comfortable too quick.
No, you can get comfortable with it because you're going to get acquainted with it. and it has limitations just with the motion controller, and it's going to keep you within that area. Whatever else comes out of that afterwards is pretty much up to you, because when you fly and you like, oh, it's not going to work, all you have to do is let go.
And it just stops.
It just stops. It hovers right there, and then you
Hovers
can
right
actually just turn it around, right or left. Just turn it around and come back to where you just came from. You know, that's how easy it is. It's like you don't have to do nothing else. You don't have to push no buttons. You have to do nothing else. You don't have
Okay.
to adjust the flight, whatever. If you're going and you're like balls to the walls and you have this trigger pulled, yeah, and you're going you're like, all you gotta do is let go. Let go.
Okay,
Everything.
go back to turning it around. How do you turn it? Like, how do you turn this thing? Like,
So if it's like this,
if it's going straight, yeah.
if you have it like this,
Yeah.
So if you turn your wrist this way, she'll turn left. If you turn this way, she'll turn right.
Oh,
On the spot.
okay.
And if you look downwards, she'll go down. The drone will slowly go down like this. If you look up, she'll go up. With the trigger, you're going forward. That's it.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Seems pretty simple. Chad did a great video where he was doing his head motion thing with a song he did on his Instagram. I think it was on his Instagram. It was super cool. So I'm assuming you can direct it with the goggles too? Or...
Yeah. So you be careful with that. I crashed it a couple times
and the drone just takes off.
Yeah, it was really weird because I was flying it and I was like, okay, so how does this work? It's called headlock. So you have that symbol on the top, and you scroll through on your stuff, and then you press the button and you go headlock. So whatever you do, she'll look at it, even up and down. But
will she take off?
Yeah, because she's hovering in front of you. But if you're looking that way and you're squeezing the trigger, she'll still go that way.
So she's gonna go that.
She'll go that direction, but she'll look that way. So she actually turns sideways and she flies like this sideways. And that's where it comes, like, because in the goggles, even though you have horizon steady on and you have horizon lock on, whatever, you're not going to see that in your goggles. Your goggles always going to see what the camera sees. You know, your camera's locked in FPV, so you're flying sideways like this, but going this direction. So now you got to get off the trigger, and then all of a sudden she comes straight, but you're still looking, and you're turning this way. And now it's going to be hard to determine which direction is it looking at, like facing. So
that is crazy.
Careful with headlock. Like if you have a straight shot, like I did it because Hot Rod at Daytona has some nice videos of surfers. And he made a suggestion that if you have a clear shot of something, you can actually fly the drone straight above and you're looking at them, and the drone will look at them. So, and I did that. So I lined myself up with the coastline, and I was like, okay, there's a clear shot to go straight out. It's easy half a mile before I hit anything in the air. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I'm going to hold this stick right here, and I'm just going to squeeze the trigger. And I started looking down, sideways, whatever, and I could look at these people. Like I could look at the surfers, I could follow the surfer
still going straight out,
but the drone was still going. So when the surfer started going that way, he started going out of my frame while I was still flying. But I was looking at him like this, and then the whole screen starts turning sideways. And you're like, okay, now you let go.
Just let go.
Back in. Yeah, you just let go of the trigger. She hovers there, then you go into your settings. You turn off the headlock, and then she'll go back into the direction that she was looking at. Now you can control her how you need it to bring her back.
Gotcha. Okay. And now return to home. Let's talk about that since you mentioned bringing it back. I've
never used it.
You've never used return to home?
Nope, I don't.
That's all I use on my cinematic drone, my Air 2, my Air 2. That's all I use is return to home. I never bring it home.
I was taught early in my career of flying drones that return home is for emergency purposes only.
Okay.
So I made it a habit of mine. Because I always do visual line of sight. I always make sure that I know where the damn thing is at.
Right.
And if I don't, that I have an observer with me who knows where the damn thing is at, because it's just too expensive as a Part 107 pilot to crash into anything. You know, people are going to sue the hell out of you, and I don't want to run into that situation. You know, I do a lot of pre-flight checking. I do a lot of environmental checks before. I do a lot of equipment checks before. I even do a gig, you know, especially droning and stuff. I pull all the necessary licensing and all that stuff. I inform whoever's around there before I fly. I do a lot to be safe.
Gotcha.
I'd rather feel safe than sorry, because I just can't afford a $1.2 million lawsuit for a freaking solar panel. You know what I mean?
Wow, that's
And
crazy.
it's just like that, because people are going to say, "Oh, I feared for my life because it almost killed me."
It almost
You know?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I never really ended up using return to home. Did I have return to home incidents with my GPS drones? Yes. When I lose control. I
lose
mean,
sight,
when I
line of sight.
lose. Yeah. No. When I lose like connection with the controller,
Right.
um, I make sure that my home point is set and stuff. Of course, I had situations like that where return to home was the only option, because now all of a sudden I ran out of battery, and then
Mhm.
it's like, oh, I got to go home. And then in the beginning, I didn't know, oh, there's a cancel button for it too.
Gotcha,
So,
gotcha. Okay.
but I made it a habit not to use return to home.
So you
This
always bring
drone,
your drone home to your yeah,
yes, I
for
always
sure.
bring it home. So now with the Avata specifically,
Yeah.
I do not believe into return to home, because you're always flying gaps and you're flying through things that there's something above you. So you don't want return to home.
Oh, that's right.
You want
Yeah.
it to stop to hover or to land wherever it's at. So if you know that there
Gotcha.
are safe areas to land, regardless where it's at, because there's everything is above you,
Yeah.
then just set it to land. If you don't know, then you just want it to hover, because like you started scratching on the flight time.
Right.
If you stay with normal mode with this, you can fly easy 15 to 17 minutes with this, depending on how the weather is. If it's wind
Okay.
still
Yeah.
and you're not blasting it and you're literally taking it easy on its controller. I
Yeah.
got out like almost 20 minutes at some point out
Okay.
of one single battery,
One
just
single
using,
battery.
yeah, just using slowly the control. I mean, it is something different to fly really, really slow, but that's what a Cinewhoop does. It flies slow,
Okay.
you know, and
Yeah.
you really try to get those shots where you come and you gradually going over that branch, you're going down, you go in between the trees, you come around,
Right.
you go through the
Doesn't have
door.
to be 30 miles an hour. Right. Right.
It doesn't have to be, because
Gotcha.
if it's a stagnant area that does not have moving obstacles around, like people walking or water flowing or wind blowing leaves, you can always speed up the footage to make
Yeah.
it look more artistic or more no, not cinematic, more dramatic.
Gotcha.
That
Okay.
is fast. If you want that, you can use that, especially because you have functions like Horizon Steady or
Okay.
some functions like Rock Steady. Or if you turn all that off and you turn your EIS off, and then
Yeah.
you can use Gyroflow. So
What
people
is
use that.
gyroflow? What is
It's another program that you can feed in all the data that is recorded from this drone, and you
okay?
feed it all into Gyroflow, which you have to literally turn off Rock Steady, you turn off Horizon Steady, you
Turn
turn
off
off
all of
EIS,
the
all
okay.
the stabilization stuff, you turn it all off.
Right.
So the data recorded on your card with the footage, you can feed that into Gyroflow, and it's a program that stabilizes the flight footage for you.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Cool.
I don't know if it costs extra. I have never used it, but I have seen other friends using it.
Got you. Okay. All right. Well, while we're talking about that, I want to get some. We got a lot of comments in here. WrestleMania, thank you for coming in. He's told everybody to hit that thumbs up, so please do that on 808's channel. And meanwhile, if you will, I'll do a shameless plug. Please subscribe to my channel, Dronewheels, where I bring you a lot of content about drones and cars and all that stuff. And I've only got 30 subscribers, so I could use a few more. I could use a few more subscribers, guys. So if you don't mind, please subscribe to the Dronewheels channel too. But meanwhile, let's talk to some of these guys that are in here. I know
Yeah.
you probably
So
know some of these guys, right?
I know pretty much like majority of these guys that stay they're always in here, and I deeply appreciate that. So
Absolutely.
Capture said somewhere in here, he said, I've crashed 8 out of 10 times with the Avata. I really like trying to hit the gaps. I do too. And that's the one thing with this thing. It's like, because you can. If you stay
Right.
with this motion controller, you know that it's not fast enough to really break it. You know what I mean? Like,
Got you.
yeah, you,
Okay.
you probably can have a hiccup here and there where it lands awkwardly and you blow a prop, or it lands awkwardly and maybe you hit a rock and you broke your lens. So that's
Okay.
where it comes to, like, I like the ND filters, because I can lock
Right.
in certain things and you can play around with the settings,
Right. Okay.
and plus it's sort of like extra protection not to scratch your lens.
Do the ND filters come in the box or no?
No, they don't. No,
Okay,
they
it's
don't. You
separate. Okay.
gotta. So I got mine's on were sent to me by Freewell that are really, really good. And then
Okay.
I have another set that came from Skyread,
Okay.
which is good too. And they also sent me the case, so I made a video about that one as well. But color-wise, recording in D-Cinelike with the settings that I have, I prefer the Freewell filters.
Gotcha.
So the Freewell filters really capture the stuff in real. Like if you have to grade it afterwards in D-Cinelike, because
Yeah.
you're recording in D-Cinelike, so everything is a little bit desaturated. But
Right.
the Freewell filters keep the colors good, while the Sky filters have like a brownish,
they got a
tint.
tint to them. Okay.
Yeah, a
So
little
you
bit
can
of
come
tint to
back
it.
and
It's
edit
not
it.
much, but for me, because I'm picky, I'm a pixel peeper.
Yeah.
I see it, So
Yeah, so you can come back and edit it and post and all that
yeah,
stuff.
and the ND filters are really affordable. They're like $50 or $60, so
Okay.
they're actually really affordable. But the really cool part is,
Yeah.
I have ND filters on this. The lens cap fits without having to take it off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the lens cap of this or the gimbal protector
Yeah.
of this fits onto this Avata without having to take off the ND
and you can
filter.
keep the filter in, so the filter pretty much pushes inside of there.
Yeah. You need the one thing that, well, I have big hands.
Okay.
So and big fingers. So you have to have a rag with you, like a microfiber, because
Yeah.
I put smudges on it when I put that
Clean
thing
it off.
on.
Got
Yeah.
you.
So
I keep those in my cars all the time.
Yeah,
anyway.
all the time. Like you really need that. You know what I mean?
All right. Cool. We'll do.
So
We'll do.
if you do, you have your link for your channel? Uncle Bill just said to put the link in the channel.
Yeah, just Dronewheels. On YouTube. Dronewheels.
Is it with a Z or S? I forget.
With an S. With an S.
Oh, with an S. Okay.
I
think I'm subscribed to you.
Huh?
Yeah, I'm subscribed to you. I am.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if you can put it here in the link. I've been trying to find a way to comment or reply to some of these people, but I don't see a way to do it. I guess because I'm not the host, maybe I can't do that. But
maybe. Let me see.
Yeah, I was trying to do some replying. Please show at Dronewheels at. Yeah, appreciate that, wrestler. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. So guys, while he's doing that, I'm gonna be, he was gracious enough to go live with me today. I reached out to 808 after watching all of his videos and his crashes and all that stuff, and I just wanted to get some information. I did a YouTube short about my fear of flying this thing, and he told me, you reached out. I think you said, man, just go out and fly it. And
yep, just do it. Don't wait. Just
do
it.
Don't wait. You're missing out on the fun and the video content that I need to get over that 30 subscribers too. So, my plans are this weekend, I'm going to be going out. I'm going to do an unboxing on the channel, and then I'm going to go out and fly this weekend. Supposed to have a pretty good weekend here in Atlanta.
Yes, sir. I'm definitely looking forward to that one when it comes out.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
then I sure it hit me up on the IG, or just message me on IG, and then just tell me how your first experience was.
Yeah, oh man, most definitely.
Look, you get 37 subs now, bro. That's 7 more than you had.
I got 7 more than I had when we started this. Thank you. Appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoy the content. Again,
I don't even know how many I get. I never
cars and all of that kind of stuff. So RC cars too. Are you into RC cars at all? You do that kind of stuff?
I used to favor for the Crater, the Creighton, the 8S.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of money, and it's something. If you're in drones already, you don't want to start with that stuff either. And I didn't want to drive my wife nuts because
so look,
I'm buying lenses and cameras and drones. I'm like investing money left and right.
Hobby like YouTube. YouTube's got to start paying a little bit more. They change those percentages or something.
It's called the rabbit hole, my man, for a reason.
So I did a video on my channel. It's called my wife owns a Ford Raptor truck, and I've got a RC Ford Raptor, and I actually used our drones to capture a lot of that footage. So check that video out when you get a chance on there. It's called Yeah, my Ford Raptor RC versus my wife's Ford Raptor, real Ford Raptor. And I used the drone.
Uncle Bill.
What's Uncle Bill saying?
He goes, I was into RC cars before you were born. All fuel then. I had a Traxxas back then that I bought for $200. That was
Traxxas.
Fuel or nitro driven.
Yep.
And it made so much noise it drove my neighbors nuts. It drove them so nuts that one of my neighbors shot him with a water hose, and then it wasn't working anymore because I didn't know nothing about the carburetor part. So
right.
I just resold it for $150 all broken.
And not to mention the smoke that these things cause, right, or creates.
Oh, see what you started? My wife's in the chat right now. She said she wants a Raptor. It's good to want, honey.
Oh yeah.
I want a Lamborghini.
Make him get you a Raptor. Make him get you a Raptor.
Negative. I don't drive no Fords. I'm over Fords. I'm a Dodge guy now. I'm a more power
Man,
person.
I'm telling you, that Ford Raptor is amazing. It is an amazing car. Super smart. I mean, invincible. It's a great truck.
Don't tell me it's invincible.
That
Don't
truck
tell her it's
is
invincible. She's the one who's totaling out these cars. Anyways, yeah, I really, really appreciate you coming and
Yes,
I had
yes.
a blast. I gotta get going because I gotta
Okay,
pick up a $2,000 lens right now
there
that
we
I'm gonna
go. Okay,
borrow for a gig
okay.
that I have tomorrow. I appreciate all of you guys coming.
Thank
Please, if you
you.
guys haven't done so, please don't forget subscribe to both of us. If you
Yeah,
guys enjoyed the stream, leave a thumbs up. And then WrestleMania says, everyone, please remain to click the thumbs up. Yes, definitely.
yeah.
Button and subscribe if you have not already. It shows 808 State that you care, and it's free. That's right. It's
That's
free.
right.
If
It
you
costs
subscribe, it's
nothing to
free. It
subscribe.
costs you nothing to subscribe.
Nothing.
And I
Right.
really appreciate it. If you want to, you can hit the bell too. I have a lot of upcoming videos. And I also have a giveaway for my members, which is going to be the case for the Mini 3. And then I also have a giveaway of a ND filter set a UV filter set and a long exposure set for the Mini 3.
The Mini
So,
3. Because you're
yes.
doing a review on that now, right?
Yes, I finished my review, so I'm giving away because I sent the third model of the Mini 3 away. I'm very, very disappointed about it. So
Okay.
I'm sending that one away. And so whatever extra materials that I have that the company sent me, I'm
Yeah.
gonna give it away. So
Okay. So they send you these drones. They'll send you they sent you the Mini 3s to do the reviews.
no. I wish.
I
No.
know, man. I
They
hear that
don't
all the time. They
don't.
DJI sent me this. I'm like, really?
Yeah, no, I'm not. I buy the drones myself because I
Gotcha.
want to be not tainted by sponsorship of a drone.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because if
Right.
you're tainted by a sponsorship of a drone, then you have to kind of entice to purchase the stuff, or
Yeah.
you don't really have it feels different if you be sponsored for a drone,
Right.
if you buy it yourself. But if it's like accessories like ND filters and all that stuff, that's different. You can use those while you do the review for the drone. And I want to be as natural and as true
Transparent.
to my viewers that I can be, and
Right.
as honest as I can be, because I started this channel based on that. I bought something because I listened to a YouTuber.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it was crap. It was really bad. And I was like,
Oh,
why did
wow.
this person suggest? And then I realized what is going on
You
with all
sponsored.
these.
You
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
sponsored, and he got it from the company, and it's like,
Oh,
whoa,
right.
this sucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so
Okay.
all my stuff is like, bro, this is the brute truth on what I feel, how it feels like, because I invest a lot of money into this, and I have to get past my wife, and I have to work very, very hard for it.
That's
So,
right. Hey,
yeah.
hence why this box is not open yet.
right, because you just don't want to sink $1,400 into the drink. You know what I mean?
Oh
You
my
just don't want
gosh.
to. So,
Yes.
but I appreciate you coming,
Okay.
and I really, really
Thank
appreciate
you.
you talking story with me. I had a great time. I
Thank
really
you,
had a
man.
blast, and I appreciate all my viewers right over here. And if you guys haven't done so already, please don't forget, subscribe to both of us, hit the thumbs up in the chat, and then if you guys want, hit the like and the bell for
Yeah.
future videos of us.
Yep.
And then definitely don't forget, be a nice human, make somebody else smile, and pay it forward. Take it easy, everybody.
Peace.